Okay, so we're going to start with vocabulary. This is our chapter 1 review. Number 1, the blank states that you can add 2 or more numbers in any order and get the same sum. Which vocabulary word matches that definition? Gianna. Right. Okay, we said we are going to leave this one out because the answer happens to be compatible numbers, and that's something that we didn't work on, so we're not going to do number 2. Number 3, so we had to tell if the sum is even or odd, and you had to write even or odd. So to remember this, we said odd plus odd is even plus even is even, and odd plus even is odd. So remember, when they're two of the same kind of number, the result is even. It's good. When they're two different kinds of numbers, an even plus an odd, we said that's just strange, right? That's odd. So we have, first one, we have 6 plus 4. 6 is even, 4 is even, so the answer will be, Brian, 10, and that is even or odd? Even. Okay, so for these ones, it's just telling us to write even or odd. We don't actually have to find the sum. If it helps you to find the sum first and then tell whether that number is even or odd, you can do that. Number 4, we have 3 and 8. 3 is an odd number. 8 is an even number. The result will be, Stephen, it will be odd. Then finally, we have 9 plus 7. 9 is odd. 7 is odd. Justin? The answer will be even. Good. Next part, we had to use rounding to estimate the sum or difference. Okay, we're not using compatible numbers, we just round. So there are going to be 2 options for each answer, because you can choose to round to the nearest 100 or to the nearest 10. So if you chose to round to the nearest 100, we're going to round each number. So 267, there's enough fairy dust in this magical ring of the fairy godmother's fairy dust to send Cinderella to the ball. So 2 turns to a 3, and then the other numbers go poof, poof. 621, if we're rounding to the nearest 100, there's our Cinderella. Here's our fairy godmother. Is there enough in her ring of fairy dust? No, there's not. So Cinderella stays in what she's wearing, and the rest go poof, poof. Now we add our rounded numbers, and 300 plus 600, Logan? That's right. We do not have to solve the original problem. Did anyone round to the nearest 10 for this? Okay, so for nearest 10, both are correct ways to do it. Nearest 10, Cinderella's our 10, fairy godmother is in the ring of fairy dust right next to her. 2 stays the same. What about 6? Does it go up or does it stay at 6? Grace? Up to 7 and poof. Now we have a 1 in the ring of fairy dust. Is that enough? Nope. So 6 and 2 stay the same and poof. We add these together. So if you got 890 or 900, both answers are correct. Next, we have 672 minus 431. To the nearest 100, we would get 700 minus 400. 700 minus 400 is 300. Good job. If you rounded to the nearest 10, you would have gotten 670 minus 430, and that answer is 240. Both are correct. 800 minus 632 for number 8. Do I have to do anything to 800? Nope. 800 rounds to 800. 632, if you rounded to the nearest 100, it would be 600. 800 minus 600 is, call it out. 200. That's right. If you rounded that to the nearest 10, we would have 800 minus 630, and then we'd have to do some regrouping here. 170. Okay, so in this example, it's easier to round both numbers to the nearest 100 to get a quick estimate. Next page. My next page. So we had to, it said estimate and then find the sum or difference. We can cross these out. We do not have to estimate first. We're just finding sums and differences. So this is a review of regular adding, regular subtraction. So when we're adding numbers, we start in the ones column. 8 plus 2 is, call it out. 8 plus 2 is 0? No. 10. So we put the 0 in the ones column. The 1 goes in the tens column. Now we add 1 plus 1 plus 4. Logan. 6 is correct. 2 plus 3. Sierra. 5. Your answer is 560. It's an addition problem, so we don't have to check with the opposite operation. Okay, that's fine. 766 plus 125. We start in the ones column. 6 plus 5 is, Stavros? 11. Put the ones place down, regroup the 1 in the tens place. Let's look at the tens column. 1 plus 6 is, Bailey? 1 plus 6. Listen to me first. 1 plus 6?
7.
And 7 plus 2 is 9, like you said. 7 plus 1 is 8. You should have gotten 891. Next one, start in the ones column. 7 plus 1 is Anthony.
8.
Good. 6 plus 5, Gianna. 11. The ones place goes down. We regroup the digit in the tens. 1, I see a doubles fact here, so do the doubles first. Do 3 plus 3, and then add 1.
7.
Good, Logan. On to number 12. We start in the ones column. 2 plus 2, that's a double. That's quick. Fatima. 4. Fatima, what's 3 plus 0? And what's 5 plus 4? Good. 934. Okay, now we move on to the subtraction. Remember to pay attention to your symbols so you don't get confused between operations. Start in the ones column. 1 minus 0. We always have to ask ourselves, is there more on the top or more on the floor? Stavros. There's more on the top, so no need to stop. 1 minus 0 is 1. Now move to the tens column. 6 minus 5. Is there more on the top or more on the floor? Logan. 5 is greater than 6? No, more on the top, right? No need to stop. 6 minus 5 is 1. 2 minus 1. Is there more on the top or more on the floor? Sierra.
More on the top.
No need to stop. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, number 14. We start in the ones column. Is there more on the top or more on the floor? Sierra.
4 on the top.
No need to stop. So 8 minus 2 is, call it out, 6. 4 minus 3, more on the top or more on the floor, Stavros? No need to stop. 4 minus 3, call it out, 1. And last one, the hundreds column. We know if it's 3-digit numbers, there's always going to be more on the top, or the numbers will be in the same in the hundreds column. If there was more on the floor, that would mean that we reversed our numbers. So we know there's more on the top. 9 minus 5 is, call it out, 4. You know what I forgot to do on this one? First one? What did I forget to do when I subtracted? Julie? No. What do I have to do whenever I do subtraction to make sure I'm right? Logan? Check it. So I'm going to take my answer, add it to the second number. I'm going to work backwards. I'm doing the reverse. I should get 261. If you didn't do it now with me. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. And 1 plus 1 is 2. And we got the top number. We're going to work backwards again on the second one. So 416, we're going from bottom to top. 532, when we're going bottom to top, we have to change minus to plus. 6 plus 2 is 8. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. We got our top number. Especially on a test, you should always check your subtraction with addition. That way you know you've got it right. Number 15, let's move to the ones column. More on the top or more on the floor? You can call it out. No need to stop. 9 minus 1, 8 is 1. Let's move to the tens column. 1 and 3. Is there more on the top or more on the floor? Angelina. So we go next door and get 10 more. So we take 1 10 away. 9 tens become 8 tens. And we put it over here into the tens column. Put a 1 in front of whatever digit was there. So 1 becomes 1 1 or 11. Now we can subtract our tens. 11 minus 3 is
8.
good, Logan. And then 8 minus 8, numbers the same. 0 is the game. Do we have to put a 0 there? No. Now we have to check. 81, 838, minus changes to plus. We should get 919, which tells us that we are correct. Last example. Start in the ones column. 6 minus 4. More on the top or more on the floor? Call it out.
More to stop.
No need to stop. 6 minus 2. Sorry, 6 minus 4 is 2. Then we have 0 minus 7. Don't get confused and reverse the numbers in your mind. Is there more on the top or more on the floor? More on the floor. So we go next door. Get 10 more. 7 becomes 6. Put a 1 in front of the digit there. That becomes a 10. Now we can subtract 10 minus 7. 3. And 6 minus 5 is 1. Now we check. Take the answer, the difference, 132. Take the second number, 574. Add them together. 2 plus 4 is 6. 3 plus 7 is 10. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 2 plus 5 is 7. We are correct. Turn the page. Word problem time. The table shows the number of visitors to Annie's apple farm. About how many people visited the farm on Saturday? So we are looking at the table. And who can tell me the exact number of visitors that visited the farm on Saturday? Julie.
243.
243 visitors. So that's the number that we are going to round. Look at your answer choices. Are we rounding to the nearest 10 or the nearest 100? 100. So we are underlining the digit in the hundreds, circling the digit in the tens. Look inside that ring of fairy dust. Is there enough to send Cinderella to the ball? No, it has to be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 to send her. If it's lower than that, she stays in what she's wearing, and the other two numbers go poof, poof. So our answer is about 200. Choice D. 18, rounded to the nearest 10. How many people visited the farm on Sunday? So look at Sunday in the table. Who can tell me the exact number of people who visited the farm on Sunday? The exact number. Stephen. 345. The directions tell us round to the nearest 10. That's our Cinderella. Fairy godmothers in the ring of fairy dust next door. Is there enough in that ring of fairy dust to send Cinderella to the ball?
Yeah.
It's a 5, a 6, a 7, or an 8. So 3 stays the same. 4 goes up to a 5. And this 5 goes poof, 350. Number 19, which is the best estimate of the number of visitors to the farm on Saturday and Sunday? So look at the table. I have to go back one slide. We have 243 and 345. Do I have to add these two numbers together to find out how many visited on Saturday and Sunday? Do I have to, though? What's the problem asking me to do? Haley?
It's telling you to estimate the best answer.
Great. So what do I need to do with each of these numbers?
We're gonna round them to the nearest.
Round them to the nearest hundred. Excellent. So 243 rounds to 200. 345 rounds to 300. Uh-oh. What do I do? My answer isn't there. What should I do? Angelina. Let me tell you what happened here. Let me tell you what happened here. We didn't mess up. We did it correctly. What happened here is our book gave us a choice using compatible numbers. The answer choice given there was using compatible numbers. That's what happened. We didn't do that. So are we correct if we say there were about 500 people? Yes, we are correct. But if this is a multiple choice question and we need to pick a choice, which one would you pick? If you were forced to do it, which one would you pick? Which one makes the most sense? Fatima? I don't think I would do 600. I don't know. Maybe I would. Justin, what would you do?
400.
400? All right, well, let me tell you. Logan, what would you do? Okay, so my choices would be these two. This one's too high, this one's too low. 450 is closest to 500, right? That's where Logan's thinking. Fatima's thinking of the compatible numbers. She did this, I'm assuming. 250 plus 350, am I right? Yep. So she got 600. So guess what? If this question was on your test, both would be accepted as correct answers. I would accept choice B and choice C. If on the actual test there is a problem like that, I will give you directions on what to do. Michael. And you rounded the exact answer. Interesting, Michael. So you got that, and so you rounded to 600. Good. It's another good strategy. So these are things that you have to think about when you're on a multiple choice test and you can't find the right answer. You have to think of other ways to get there. Good job. Number 20, there were 186 fewer visitors to the farm on Friday than on Sunday. How many people visited the farm on Friday? I told you that this word is sometimes tricky for third graders. Sometimes we're unsure of what that means. Who can remember what that means? Brian. Fewer. Does it mean more or less? Less. There were 186 less or fewer visitors to the farm on Friday than on Saturday. Let's look back at our table. Saturday had 243 visitors. I'm sorry, we're doing Sunday. Sunday had 345 visitors. Friday had 186 fewer. What do I do with 186 and 345? Do I add them, subtract them, multiply them, divide them? Sierra? Subtract is correct. 186 from 345. Look at the ones column. There's more on the floor. You go next door, you get 10 more. 15 minus 6 is 9. Then we go to the tens. We can't do 3 minus 8. There's more on the floor. You go next door again and make that a 13. 13 minus 8 now is 5. And 2 minus 1 is 1. Do you see the answer choice there? Yep. But what should we do with that subtraction just to make sure we're 100% correct? We need to check it. So we do 159 plus 186, and we should get 345 And we did, so we are correct. Okay, almost done. Now we have another table, Susie's Sweater Shop. Susie's Sweater Shop sells sweaters online. The table shows the number of sweaters sold in 3 months. How many sweaters were sold in January and February? What do we do with the number for January and the number for February? We have 402 and 298. What do we do with those two numbers, Lauren? Add them together. 2 plus 8 is 10. 700 sweaters. Yes? Great. 22. How many more sweaters were sold in January than in March? How many more means subtract. So we have January and March. Let's look at the two numbers. 402, 171. So we're going to subtract those two numbers. 402 minus 171. 2 minus 1 is 1. There's more on the top. 0 minus 7. There's more on the floor. Go next door and get 10 more. Into the tens column now. 10 minus 7 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. Do we see 231? Okay, that means we're probably right if we see our answer choice there, but not necessarily, so we must check. It's worth the extra minute or two that it takes you to check your work so that you're 100% sure that you're correct. Number 23. How many more sweaters were sold in February and March than January? This was a tricky one. This tells us we need to find a total for February and March, then subtract that total from January. How many sweaters were sold in February, Angelina? How many in February, Angelina? And Angelina, how many in March? 171. We're going to add those two numbers together to find February plus March, the total for February and March. Should have gotten 469. Yes? Yes, yes, yes. Good. Now 469 is not our answer. Usually the people who make tests and textbooks like to trick you and put it as an answer choice so that you'll say, up there it is, now I'm done. Are we done? Did we find the answer? No, we found part of the answer. We found February and March. We want to know how many were sold in February and March together than were sold in the month of January. How many sweaters were sold in January, Sasha? Yep, so how many more means subtract 469 minus 402. Start in the ones, 9 minus 2, there's more on the top, no need to stop. 6 minus 0, more on the top, no need to stop. And then we have 4 minus 4, numbers the same, zero's the game. We don't have to put a 0 there. So we get 67. And then you know what we do. Last one. Susie sold only 28 sweaters in June, 19 in July, and 11 in August. How many sweaters did she sell in June, July, and August? So they're asking us to do what with those three numbers? Grace. Add them together. 28, 19, and 11. Remember, when we're adding 3 or more numbers, we use the associative property to group numbers together. We look for pairs that add to 10 or doubles facts. Does anyone see a pair that adds to 10 or a doubles fact? Logan. 9 plus 1 is a pair that adds to 10. But guess what, too? If I did 8 plus 1, that would be a doubles fact because 8 plus 1 is 9 and 9 plus 9. So both were there. Logan, what's 10 plus 8? 8 goes down, regroup the 1. Then we have 1, 2, 3 ones plus a 2 is what, Stavros? 5. So we have 58 sweaters. Choice D. That's it.